I'm already gassed up for the most hotly contested matchup of the weekend. It's Sunday Night Football, Week 7 of the National Football League. You know how it works around here. You gotta like today's video if you want the Dolphins to beat the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Smash that like button. We've got a full preview coming up next on Dolphins Today. Welcome into Dolphins Today. I hope you can tell by the excitement in my voice. I'm already ready to go for Sunday Night Football, but I know we've got to progress there, and we can't peak too early in the week. But let's get it going right away. NFL Week 7. I said it in the open. I think this is the most hotly contested matchup of the weekend. A couple of 5-1 teams, AFC versus NFC, duking it out on national TV, Sunday Night Football. The offense for the Miami Dolphins, the talk of the National Football League, and why wouldn't it be? Impressive what they've been able to do in a 6-game sample size on a record historic pace. And the Eagles, they were undefeated. They were the last remaining undefeated team in the NFC before stubbing their toe against the Jets last weekend. So you know they'll be primed and ready to go, ready to bounce back in front of that ruckus crowd at home. It's going to be a good one. The over-under on this one, take a look at that, 52.5. That is the largest over-under for the opening lines in Week 7 of the National Football League. So the odds makers expecting a shootout, which could be a lot of fun. And you got to think that bodes in the favor of the number one scoring office in the NFL. Eagles still 2.5-point favorites. Remember, you get 3 for being at home in most cases. So let's just call this what it is. Basically a pick'em game with the Eagles getting a slight nod for being at home. So I ask you, who you got? Let's get it going right away. Let me know in the comments. It's real simple. D for Dolphins, if you have a brain, or E for Eagles. I just kid around with that. Who do you think's going to win? Let me know. D for Dolphins, E for Eagles. Now, I said AFC versus NFC. It's a lot of fun when you look at this matchup because there really isn't a lot of recent history between these two teams and no recent history between the two head coaches, or any history for that matter. Mike McDaniel versus Nick Sirianni. McDaniel at the helm, 14-9 with the Dolphins. First ever meeting between the two, and they've only met twice, dating all the way back to 2015, and the Dolphins have won both of those, won by the narrowest of margins. As for the Philadelphia side of things, Sirianni, what a tremendous job he's done since taking over at Philadelphia. 28-12, the reigning NFC champs, and I would say among the elite in the NFC. And this has got to be one of the best Sunday Night Football matchups because for the first time, this is wild, since 2015, a pair of 5-1 teams or better are matching up for Sunday Night Football. So 5-1 versus 5-1. And to make matters even a little bit more interesting, Eagles coming off that first loss, like I mentioned, at the hands of the New York Jets. That surprised me, probably surprised you as well. But make no mistake about it, this Philadelphia team, Eagles team, is loaded. Jalen Hurts, one of the premier upper echelon quarterbacks in the NFL. He's a special talent, absolutely. There is no doubt about it. But he has struggled as of late. 7 interceptions, 7 touchdowns. We'll dive into it a little bit more as well. And the Eagles are a little beat up. They are, like any NFL team at this point in the season, you start to lick the injury wounds a little bit. But I think Philadelphia has especially been impacted adversely by the injury bug. Couple more storylines. I love this one. It's a good old college reunion. And I'll call it the friendliest of rivals between Tua Tagovailoa and Jalen Hurts. Their history all the way back to college. Remember, Jalen Hurts was the starter at Alabama until a young Tua Tagovailoa came knocking on the door and replaced him at the starting quarterback position only. And I don't say not to no knock on Tua, but he got hurt in that SEC title game. And who can forget Jalen Hurts bringing the Crimson Tide back to win that SEC title game. and they remain close friends to this day. And they're both having hella seasons, both in the top 3 for MVP voting as it stands today through 6 weeks of play. And they both have made their mark on the National Football League and probably made grumpy old Nick Saban very, very proud. So, with that said, I think there's a ton of storylines with this one, and let's enjoy it, man. Let's enjoy diving into this one. We're going to continue to bring you more of our preview and more on Jalen Hurts' recent struggle. But first, I got to tell you all about Prize Picks, proud presenting sponsor of today's Eagles versus Dolphins preview. I love playing Prize Picks because it is far and away the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy. 2 great factors there. A lot of fun to play, and for someone like me, very easy to play. Here's how it works. Listen up. Make sure you take notes if you need to. All you're doing with Prize Picks, it's very simple. You're simply picking more or less versus the projected stat total of a given player. So whether it's passing yards, projected receiving yards, projected rushing yards, it's real simple. You pick more or less, and every now and then you swing and miss. Everybody laugh at my expense here. This was me last night for Monday Night Football. Ha, ha, ha. Riepma, you idiot. What were you thinking here? When will I learn that the receivers are going to receive more? I had CeeDee Lamb with the less. He went off. It was really impressive, and the Cowboys got the win. I did not get the win, so that means I need to bounce back playing Prize Picks, and I can't wait to do that for the Dolphins game this weekend. So very easy, very exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you got to do is go to prizepicks.com/CLNS, and we, for being a Dolphins fan, are giving you a $100 deposit match. That's right. If you didn't hear it, listen up. We're giving you a $100 deposit match at prizepicks.com/CLNS. So don't wait. Set up your Prize Picks account today. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use that code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. And to make things easy, we've got that link in the description of today's video. So, just in case you missed it, prizepicks.com/CLNS. And we've got a $100 deposit match for you using that code CLNS. I mentioned that Jalen Hurts has struggled as of late, but at the end of the day, this guy is a winner. I know he's an opponent for the Dolphins on Sunday, but you can't say enough about the mark that Jalen Hurts has made on the National Football League, leading that Philadelphia Eagles offense. So I know he's struggled as of late. 7 interceptions in 6 games. He's been confused by some defenses, especially that Jets defense last Sunday. He just did not look himself. But look at the numbers from 2022. 22 pass touchdowns, 13 rush touchdowns, and only 8 total turnovers. You know this guy is a difference maker. He's a playmaker. All you got to do is watch any interview, and I know that's a little thing, but the guy looks and talks the part of a leader, of an MVP caliber player, and I think I speak for just about everybody when I say he has my utmost respect as a leader, as a quarterback, and as a proven winner in this league and for years to come as well. But that said, I think this Eagles team is very vulnerable right now given the amount of injuries they have suffered. I mentioned in the open, this time in the NFL, every team is suffering from injuries. But just take a look at how they have piled up for the Philadelphia Eagles. Jalen Carter, Darius Slay, a couple of big names that jump out to you on the defensive side. The offensive line is banged up. And again, I'm not going to make any excuses for the Eagles, but I do think it's worth noting how these injury woes have impacted Philadelphia. 6 different starting secondaries in 6 games. So I mentioned the O-line's beat up. The secondary's obviously beat up as well. They're still trying to find that continuity in the back 7, and a lot of it has to be because of the next man up. You know, one guy goes down, who's up next? That's why you're seeing 6 different starting lineups in the secondary in 6 different games. 6 corners or safeties making their NFL debut so far for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I've told you once, I'll tell you a million times, the Dolphins offense, especially through the air and on the ground too, the Dolphins offense is not the team you want to face when you are banged up defensively. So keep your eye on that as we head into Sunday Night Football. It's one of the reasons I'm pretty confident in this Dolphins team, but I got to ask you, how confident are you in this Dolphins secondary, who have had some of their injury problems of their own? Xavier Howard, his status still up in the air a little bit. Vic Fangio, in his first year as defensive coordinator, still figuring out exactly what this defensive secondary is going to look like. So scale it for me in the comments. How confident are you in this Dolphins secondary, 1 through 10? That said, I think it's a huge way that the Dolphins need to approach this game if they want to win it. And because you know I love on Dolphins Today when we've got the live watch parties, we're having one this Sunday night. You got to join us for that. And, of course, on Wednesdays, we've always got our live show. You got to join us for that as well. Every Wednesday, we're live beginning at 5 o'clock. Now, my keys to victory. Some of these are going to sound a little bit repetitive, but it's important to note when you've got two heavyweights going at it, these are football keys, right? Even though it's a little bit repetitive, you've heard some of this before, it's still important to note. With a banged-up Eagles defense, this offense for the Dolphins needs to continue to be elite. Now, I'm not asking for 600 yards. That is, a far cry against even a banged-up Eagles defense. But what they need to continue to do is put points on the board, and the numbers don't lie, guys. Top scoring offense, top passing offense, top rushing offense. Those are just the big three. But our buddy Joe Shad, Dolphins Insider, outlined just about everything the Dolphins are the best at as it relates to offense. Total offense, rushing offense, passing offense, yards per play, yards per rush, first downs, red zone, explosive plays. Check. First. This Dolphins offense is elite. I know I've said that a million times, but it is worth reiterating. And that is going to be where this game is won. The odds makers think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be a shootout. This Eagles defense is ripe for the picking. Let's see Tua and the boys go out and show out like we know they're capable of doing. Now, defensively, the Dolphins have been pretty good at making the opposing quarterback uncomfortable, getting pressure on the opposing quarterback. And with a banged-up offensive line, it will be paramount. Let me say it again. Paramount to make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable, both in the pocket and out of the pocket, as he's shown recently can be prone to the turnover. Now, a huge part of the Eagles' offensive line, Lane Johnson. He went down with an injury last week against the Jets in the first quarter after getting rolled up on. It's a high ankle sprain. X-rays were, however, negative, and this is typically a 3 to 4 week injury, but he is a tough SOB. He's trending in the direction of wanting to play on Sunday Night Football. And just look at the impact he has on the Eagles in his career. When he's in the lineup, good things happen. Without him in the lineup, the Eagles have had their struggles. 84, 48, and 1 when Johnson plays. So nearly double the wins. I'm no mathematician, but you know what I mean. It's close enough. When he's out, they're well below 500. He is a crucial component to the success of the Philadelphia Eagles. It'll be interesting to see how his injury status progresses through the weeks. Our very own Eagles host, got to give my guy Chase Sr. a shout out. Love that guy, but not this week. He had another update for us on the Lane Johnson situation, saying Nick Sirianni on WIP, Philadelphia Sports Talk Radio, he's not considered long-term, and he's pushing to play Sunday Night Football versus the Dolphins. So shout out Chase Sr., but the Dolphins are coming for you this week. We're going to have lots of battles with the Eagles channel all week long, so stay tuned for that. Now, with that potent offense for the Eagles, you know somebody on defense for the Dolphins has to step up. I'm not giving you any options here. I want you to get creative. Give me somebody in the comments on the defensive side that you want to see break out and have an impactful game for the Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. Here's mine. We saw a little glimpse of it on Sunday against the Panthers, and I know what you're going to say. Everybody said it to me already. Oh, the Dolphins haven't played anybody tough except for the Bills, and that's when they lost. So here's their opportunity to show it on national television. And in my opinion, this individual continues to trend in the right direction, and that is Bradley Chubb. I want to see Bradley Chubb continue to show out for the Miami Dolphins like he did against the Carolina Panthers. He was exceptional against the Panthers. Now, that secondary needs to be sharp because we know what this Eagles offense can do, especially with their top two wide receivers. They are impressive. So, Vic Fangio, we've been waiting. Let's see that secondary play their best game of the season, because take a look at A.J. Brown's production, one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. In fact, he's second in yards receiving behind Tyreek Hill. The last 4 games, he has been on an absolute tear. 131 yards, 175 yards, 127 yards, and 131 yards. I mentioned it already, but those are Tyreek numbers. Other than that, no receivers are putting up those kind of numbers. So who from the Dolphins secondary is going to be the one to step up? I got to hear from you. Who do you want to be the main defender assigned to A.J. Brown? Who's covering A.J. Brown? Type EA for Eli Apple, CS if you're like me and you want to see what that rookie's got, or XH for Xavier Howard. And, of course, some of that is going to depend on X's health as he left on Sunday with that groin injury. Now, one more interesting note as it relates to the Eagles' potent offense. Sometimes they say the rich gets richer. And Adam Schefter reported today that 7-time Pro Bowler Julio Jones signing a 1-year deal with Philadelphia. Per sources, Jones will be reunited with his former teammates, A.J. Brown, who they were together in Tennessee. And I don't know how much gas is left in the tank with Julio Jones, but it's certainly a big name and a splash signing for the Eagles. And I don't even know if we'll see Julio Jones be ready to go for Sunday Night Football, with just joining the team on Tuesday officially, and how fast he can learn that playbook and so on and so forth. But definitely worth noting that the Eagles are adding a big name to their wide receiver corps. Now, we know what the secondary has to do. We know what the defensive line has to do, and the linebackers for that matter, make Jalen Hurts uncomfortable. Let's flip it back to the offense. And I don't know why I keep waiting to the very end to give the O-line their credit. So thanks for sticking with me. And if you're a Dolphins offensive lineman that's just watching this now, I should have mentioned you from the beginning, because you guys have been special, and that is a crucial key to the Dolphins' success on offense. They don't get enough credit, but our guy Travis Wingfield keeping us in the loop with how good that Dolphins offensive line has been, especially from a pass blocking efficiency component. Look at this. Austin Jackson, Kendall Lamb, Isaiah Wynn, Robert Hunt, and Connor Williams, all with really impressive pass blocking efficiency numbers. And that's a big reason why they've kept Tua clean and upright. So again, 3 games they've not allowed Tua to be sacked, and the Dolphins are 3-0 in those games. Certainly a tougher task against a team like Philadelphia, but the recipe is very simple. Tua doesn't get sacked, you win the game. Now, obviously, there's been some games where the Dolphins have won, even when Tua's been sacked, but you get the idea. Keep Tua clean, good things happen. Last but certainly not least, we have a lot of fun with these in our previews. Score prediction time. Let me know in the comments. Dolphins-Eagles, Sunday Night Football, score prediction time. Let me know. I'll give you mine. Mine is exciting. I've been back and forth on this. I know you see it at the bottom of the screen, but give me the Dolphins 34-31. I think I agree with the odds makers. It's going to be a shootout, and when the dust settles at Lincoln Financial Field, I think the Dolphins will do enough to earn a huge road win to move to 6-1. So give me the Dolphins 34-31. And hey, if you made it all this way and you liked what you see, real simple, smash that like button for me. We here at Dolphins Today and all of Chat Sports appreciate your support, and you can show your support by liking today's video. So shout out to all the Dolphins faithful tuning in to Dolphins Today. We're going to continue to get you ready for Dolphins versus Eagles on Sunday Night Football. We've got our live show tomorrow. A lot of fun, and that's also your next chance to join the Aqua Club. And, of course, we've got a live watch party for Sunday Night Football. So subscribe to the channel, like today's video. Shout out producer Jack. Love you guys, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Today.